Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor, I'm the man on the Silver Mountain, and welcome back. Today I'm doing another one of my disc videos. I'm doing the S type, the secure or steady type, depending on who you listen to and what you're looking at. And this is the first of the two kind of inactive or not inactive, passive, that's the word I'm looking for. The two passive types. And S is the passive and people-focused type, and as a result, as suggested by what I said a second ago, it's very much to do with kind of security and steadiness. But what does that mean? Well, it's very much more of an kind of an emphasis on cooperation or working with others to carry out tasks or to make sure that the group is happy. They're very much group-focused people, whilst the I type is very much all of these people feeding that positivity into them. The S-type tends to be more about maintaining the group and feeding that positivity out. You know, taking the example that Dave Pill gave me in regards to the going into a travel agent, where you'd have a D-type going, oh, I just want to go here. Having an I going, oh, well, here sounds nice, and here sounds nice, and here sounds nice. The S-type is more likely to turn around to the group that they are going with and go, where would you guys like to go? And as long as everyone has some element of being happy with that, then they'll be happy too, and they'll go along with it because they want to be part of that steady, secure, and like supportive environment, I guess. And as a result, these guys, as said, you know, they look for opportunities to help. They are motivated by things like they have a very sincere appreciation of others, and they appreciate a sincere appreciation of themselves. And you know, they want cooperation. They just want everybody to get along to one extent or another. And as a result, yeah, they prioritize like working with people and trying to maintain that stability within their environment, especially their social environment. They don't like anyone going like off the rails in a way that they wouldn't expect. You know, that causes them to have some issues there. And you know, they like to support people, because if they're supporting people, then that means that that person becomes more stable, which means that the overall environment becomes stable. You know, they're very much kind of builders of their social environment. And as a result, you know, they tend to be quite calm and quite patient and kind of predictable in their actions, because again, that's a kind of stable, secure thing if you're going through just a very straightforward and easy to follow pattern, you know. And as a result, they tend to be, to one extent or another, quite consistent, just because again, this pattern, it's a repeating predictable pattern. They can follow through on things. But then, you know, they may be limited in regards to their decision making, because it's very much a case of, you know, ordinarily they would try and crowdsource their opinion to one extent or another. But obviously, if the crowdsourcing isn't a possibility because there's no one around them, and they have and there's no one that will give them that information they need to make their own decision, then they may very well, even if they've got all of this information out in front of them to help with that decision, they may very well get paralyzed by the fact that there's so much to choose from and there's no one to help provide a lens or to provide input to suggest what a stable environment would be on the other end of making this decision. They can sometimes be over accommodating. They, you know, very much easily walked over. You know, where a D or an I will tend to, I mean, a D especially, if you take, you know, if you challenge them, then they will try and take you down. An I will very much, you know, try and maintain their level of energy, even if they're having to confront you with it. An S will tend to avoid challenge and avoid change and avoid that instability, and as a result, they may over accommodate, they may over appease people, and as a result, again, as I said, they may very well be easily walked over as a result. And you know, as said, if you've got this fear of change and a loss of stability, and especially of like offending people, then you know, you're going to be very, very accommodating to people, regardless of how nonsensical they are, regardless of how offensive they are to you or whatever else. You know, there's more likely to be that gap. But as a result, things like the value of security, of that stability, and of kind of helping people and people helping each other out, and the value of loyalty, where everyone's kind of sticking together and being a strong group, that's very much a thing that they value and that they want and that they focus on. And as a result, the things that they will try and move towards will be things. Yeah, they may very well be things like personal accomplishments, but they will look for group acceptance, and they will look for very formal roles within groups as well. There have been a lot of people that I've worked with who have tried to push up the chain in a very straightforward, I must do this and then this and then this and then this, and I must gain the support of the people around me, and I must at times suck up to people, and at times I need to make sure that I'm always there to help that person just so that I get that leg up. They look for the very, I must do this and this and this kind of checklist attitude to moving up things and to taking authority and taking that level of control, because then if it's done through that means, then it's stable. They have a reason for being there. They can be certain in that, and they can feel safe in that. And as a result, like having a controlled environment, maintaining a status quo, and things like that are also important to them, because again, that informs stability. If the environment is controlled, if there is this kind of status quo, this normal everyday occurrence of who's in charge, who's not in charge, who makes decisions, who doesn't make decisions, where the information is coming from, how people are acting. If that's all the same every day, then they're happy, because that's very much a stable and controlled and happy place for them. But as a result, though, it becomes more challenging for them if they have to adapt to change quickly, because not only is it scary, but also adapting means that something's out of flux, or in flux rather, and something's going very quickly, and as a result, they tend to like working more slowly and kind of sinking into an environment and getting used to it, rather than just having to jump in and flail around, because jumping in and flailing around it's unstable. There's not necessarily going to be an awful lot of support. It's a real problem for them to deal with over that kind of thing. And as a result, the same goes for multitasking, where you're going to have to make high-speed prioritizations of things, because as much as multitasking is said to be doing 2 jobs at once or whatever, it's not. Your brain is still working in serial. It works in one pattern, one line at a time, unless you've had some form of brain damage to one extent or another. And as a result, though, that multitasking is more just the speed at which a series of events can be completed, and how you can dot between that series of events can be dotted between 2 different tasks or activities. So when they are very much about the stability and about the slow processing of things and so on and so forth, multitasking, where they are less decisive, can be difficult, because they're not making decisive decisions between which activity to pursue next. And so having to do 2 or 3 things at once can be more challenging, because that those decisions on which thing to pursue in that serial chain of events kind of breaks down. But also it's really hard for them to deal with confrontation, and confrontation can come in many different forms. You've got confrontation in regards to actually someone being up in your face, and as a result you want to buckle, because that's scary, and it's instability, it's causing offence. It could very quickly change into a completely different situation that's far worse. That's a very scary place for an S-type individual to be. But also think about confrontation also means confronting things about yourself, and that can be very hard for an S-type person to do, especially when you've got to confront things about yourself to promote yourself to other people. Because it means that you've got to confront the things about yourself that both make you good, which can be really hard for someone to talk about, but also the things that make you bad, and you need to make sure that you don't talk about those, and you try and shift them off to one side potentially. And though, like, doing that level of kind of confronting things and working through them, when it's all in yourself, there's no one else around you, it can be a very unstable and spiraling set of thought processes to go through that, then the promotion of self is a difficult thing, because also you're promoting yourself to a group of other people who are just sitting there judging you, and as a result it's only you that's being judged. There's no support group, there's no network, there's nothing there to hold you in a stable state, and as a result it can be like free falling for these people. I'm personally not particularly high S. I mean, it falls below the line, so I'm technically not an S in regards to my overall profile. So I can't really speak to these so much, or at least as much as I did the others. But they tend to be this way as per the behaviours observed within the model. And as a result, though, in regards to the management example that I've given with the last two, an S-type individual can still be a great leader, can still be a great manager, and the way that they do that is very much by building that network. They will have their strong team around them, and they will be like the mother in the middle, making sure that everyone knows what they're doing, making sure that everyone's well prepared for it, making sure that everyone's okay. And as a result, they can lead that way by being this control center and this support center in the middle, propping up the rest of whatever endeavor it is that the team is having to move towards a success on. And as a result, there's that kind of environment building atmosphere that they can generate, and they can promote things like teamwork, collaboration, working with each other, absorbing the information before moving forward, and stuff like that. But at the same time, there are still the potential issues of, when you're in a leadership role, sometimes you do need to, people will look to you for decisions, and you do not always have all of the information and whatever else. So making those decisions quickly or adapting to odd situations can be the thing that slow those people down. But again, if they're aware of that, if they're willing to analyse that and take a look at how they can work around that, especially if they can use the other people around them or get the other people around them to help them work around that, then they can be absolutely great. They can build very, very strong cooperative and collaborative workplaces that achieve great things. But yeah, anyway, as with the last couple of videos, what do you guys think? Have you interacted with people like this before? Do you ascribe to these kind of behaviours and this kind of personality? I'm interested to know. And otherwise, if you found this informative or if you like this video, then please drop me a like, and otherwise subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care.